How's it going, guys? I'm Steve. I'm from Oklahoma City. I'm 32. I'm a husband. I'm a dad of 2 kids. And this is my video for the top 5 things that I think you need as a parent who's also a triathlete. The scope of this video and the lens that I'm looking through this video is these pieces of gear I feel like are necessary for you to have the most success as a triathlete who's also a parent. There's pieces of gear that you might need, there's pieces of gear you might not need, but this is my perspective that I use these pieces of gear all the time, and I feel like if you're a parent, if you're a husband, and you're a triathlete, these things are something that you need in order to ensure success. Item number 1, an indoor bike trainer. Pretty common sense. I think indoor bike trainers are extremely popular now. If you talk to somebody maybe 10, 12, 15 years ago, they were a little less common. They were a little bit more primitive, those sorts of things. But now the marketplace is filled with them. You have ones that move. You have ones that, are digitally controlled. You have Zwift. You have all these different cool options at your disposal. But the basic premise is that you need a bike trainer, period. You can see my bike trainer is not anything fancy. It is a Kurt Kinetic fluid bike trainer, meaning it's a fluid resistant impeller that the bike wheel spins a flywheel, and there's fluid inside of a housing, and there's a set amount of resistance, and I pedal against that resistance, and then I change my gears up and down to make it harder or easier, and that's what I use inside. It is very basic. You don't need a electronic trainer. You don't need a direct drive trainer. You don't need Zwift. You don't need any of those things. You just need something like that. Bare bones, something where you can hook your bike up, where once you get a triathlon bike, you can set it up on the trainer, you can get yourself in the aero position, you can really dial in getting comfortable in the aero position and getting your bike fit comfortable where you feel comfortable riding in that position. But you don't need some sort of fancy thousands of dollars worth of bike trainer. You need something that you can just hook your bike up to and mash the pedals for a few hours on end if you have to, type of thing. I think a lot of people get caught up with the fact that like Zwift is available and digital training platforms and all that. It's really cool, but it's just more money. And to me, I would rather spend the money on gear that I need and things like a wetsuit and things like that will make you go faster than things that are just entertaining. That's just me personally. You may feel differently, but I'm just trying to give you the bare bones of things that you would need in order to be successful at triathlon. Item number 2, a treadmill. So we're at item number 2, a treadmill. Obviously, in triathlon, about 1/3 of the race is running. You could argue maybe a little bit more depending on the race length and all that kind of stuff, but that's neither here nor there. Treadmill is important because it eliminates excuses for training. Kind of my overwhelming theme here is being able to give yourself the best and most options to get your training in. Consistency is key. So on a treadmill, there's no rain, there's no wind. As long as you keep your house warm in the winter and cool in the summer, you can run. Bottom line. Do I like running on a treadmill? No, I do not. But it gives me options. It allows me to run if my wife is out of town. It gives me options to run if the weather's not good outside, those sorts of things. So it just eliminates the barriers for getting my training in. So that's item number 2. Okay, item number 3. A flashlight. So specifically, I picked this flashlight. My wife bought this for me 2 years ago or so, I think for Christmas. The reason why I pick this, I think it's a Bontrager flashlight, Trex accessory brand flashlight. The reason why I picked this one is it's extremely bright. It has options for dimming. It can flash. It'll hook up with your bike computer. It's rechargeable, so the battery, it lasts a really long time. And what's cool about it too, I'll turn towards the bike here. You have your mount on your bike. You can clip it on and use it on your bike. You can mount it facing up. I like having it facing down so that it's out of the way of my handlebars. But then you can pull on the tab and remove it from your bike. And the reason why I like that as well is because when you can remove it from your bike, you can use it while you're running. So it works as a running light, as a bike light. It can work in multiple areas. I like buying gear that's multi-purpose and versatile, and this is a way to do that. So that's item number 3. All right, so item number 4, I can't actually hold it right now because it's in my daughter's room, but it is a baby monitor. Now, we use Nanit. I'm not sponsored by Nanit. I'm not promoted by Nanit, nothing. We bought that with our money almost 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, roughly. We like Nanit because it gives us the ability to monitor our kids on our phones and have background noise, so that way when we're sleeping or we're around the house, it's an additional way to monitor our kids. Not everybody likes that concept because it might be susceptible to security and that sort of thing. We have it locked down with a two-part verification where you have to put in a code on your phone and that sort of thing. So it's fairly secure as far as I can tell. I'm comfortable with it, but maybe not everybody else is comfortable with that type of thing. But bottom line all around is that you need some kind of baby monitor in your house, whether it's Bluetooth or that sort of thing. You need some kind of baby monitor. And the reason why I say that is because with your bike and your treadmill, what you're gonna do is if you're by yourself or your spouse is sleeping or whatever, you can monitor your kids while you're getting your training in. I've used the baby monitors a ton, especially because my wife, she travels for work a lot. So, that makes me in charge of the kids. And so I have to be able to keep track of them all the time. So if they're sleeping or if they're waking up or those sorts of things, I have to be able to see what they're doing and where they are. But that tool allows me to still get my training in. If I didn't have the baby monitor, I would be wondering more regularly, hey, are my kids asleep? Or I'd have to figure out a way to keep a door open or that sort of thing. And then the noise from the treadmill or from the trainer might wake them up. So to me, it's important to be able to watch them. So anyway, that is gear number 4. Last piece of gear number 5, is a way to track you as the triathlete. On my thumbnail, I have a Life 360 app. That's what my wife and I use because she has an Android phone, I have an iPhone, and so they don't talk to each other well for tracking purposes and that sort of thing. I have used Garmin Live Track before quite frequently, and that's what we did a lot before this. However, we decided that, you know, my wife wants to be able to kind of see where I am most of the time throughout the day, so we changed over to this app. But you can do the Garmin Connect app if you want to, if you're a Garmin user. If you're not a Garmin user, Life 360 is an option. I know that Apple has a way of sharing locations too if you want to, but the basic premise is a way to share your location with your loved ones. Is this necessary? No. People have spent hundreds of years not knowing where people are when they're out and about during their day. It's really just more of a peace of mind thing. My wife, you know, wonders, especially when I'm riding outside, how I'm doing, if I get hurt, if I have a flat. She just worries about me. So as a way to give her ease of mind, I either use an app, I use my Garmin Live Track. Strava has a feature that can share your location as well. Just give your spouse the ability to track you, or your parents, or your significant other, your partner, whoever. Give them the ability to see where you're at, because they're worried about you. You know, it just means that they care. So it's not that they're trying to spy on you more times than not. I'm not saying that people don't do that, but if they're in your life, it's probably just because they care about you. So that's my last piece of gear. That's my last piece of advice. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it, even if it's one or two pieces of gear. If you're new to the sport of triathlon and you're a parent and you feel like, man, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to fit this all in? Well, here's some tools that'll help you do it. I'm not saying that you need all of this stuff, but you certainly need a few things to give you some options. I would probably say the first two are the most important, because that's where you're training for triathlon. That's where you build your foundation for racing and that sort of thing. So if I could stress anything, it's just maybe that the first two pieces of gear are the most important, and then build from there. And all this gear that I bought, most of it was used. You don't have to buy brand new. This is just kind of wrap things up. You don't have to buy new. Facebook Marketplace is great. You can look on Craigslist. I haven't used Craigslist in years. eBay is good. Scour around marketplaces, talk to your friends. If you're thinking about getting into triathlon, usually there's maybe a local triathlon club that can help you out, and people have gear that they're trying to sell. You know, people are always trying to upgrade, and so maybe you can swoop in and get a piece of gear for a good deal because you're just starting out. The idea is that when you're starting out, you know, try and get your foundation pieces in place. I've had this trainer for over 2 years. I don't plan on changing it out anytime soon. I'm focusing on upgrading other pieces of gear that I feel are more important. And as time goes on, you'll kind of build up your repertoire and all that. But just get your foundation pieces in place. I think once you can do that, you're golden. Anyway, I appreciate you watching this video. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you want to see some more content. And thank you for watching again.